It's time for science. Let's learn the difference between weather and climate. So, in previous lessons, we've talked about the sun and how the sun affects the earth and the earth's atmosphere. We've talked about the water cycle, where clouds are created, and they can give us sunny weather, lots of rain, or even heavy snow. We've learned about the wind and how to measure it using the Beaumont scale, which gives us measurements from level 1 or 2, where the wind is flowing lightly, all the way to hurricane strength winds, which are super destructive. Finally, we learned about the tools that helps us determine the weather. This includes the thermometer, the windsock, the weather balloon, and the rain gauge. I know you would think that was it, but it's not. In addition to weather, there's also climate. And while they may appear to be the same, they are totally different. Weather is the day-to-day state of the atmosphere and its short-term variation from minutes to weeks. People generally think of the weather as the combination of temperature, humidity, precipitation, cloudiness, visibility, and wind. We talk about changes in weather in terms of the near future. How hot is it right now? What will it be like today? And when will we get a snowstorm this week? Now, climate, on the other hand, is the weather of a place averaged over a period of time, often 30 years or more. Climate information basically tells us about all of the normal weather as well as the range of weather extremes for a location. We talk about climate change in terms of years, decades, centuries, or even millions of years. Scientists study climate to look for trends or cycles of variability, which means how often they change. Scientists basically watch for sudden changes in wind patterns, ocean surface temperatures, and precipitation. Still confused? Think about it this way. Weather tells you what to wear each day, while climate tells you what type of clothing you should have in your closet. For example, suppose you lived in Georgia. You wouldn't wear this in the summertime, would you? Of course not, because our climate here in Georgia tells us it's going to be way too warm to put that on. Well, speaking of climates, let's see how many types of climates there are. So we know from our previous lessons that weather around the world is not the same. Well, that's because there are 5 types of climates for the entire Earth. So let's discuss the 5 types of climate. Tropical climate. In this hot and humid zone, the average temperatures are greater than 64 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, and there is more than 59 inches of precipitation each year. Dry zones. These climate zones are so dry because moisture is rapidly evaporated from the air and there is very little precipitation. Temperate zones. In this zone, there are typically warm and humid summers and thunderstorms and mild winters. Continental. These regions have warm to cool summers and very cold winters. In the winter, this zone can experience snowstorms, strong winds, and very cold temperatures, sometimes falling below 22 degrees Fahrenheit. And finally, the polar zone. In the polar climate zone, it is extremely cold. Even in summer, the temperatures here never go higher than 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That's our lesson for today. Wow, scholars, you really grew your brains today. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you next time. Love you all. Goodbye.